Rogue Duelist here to give you my opinions on the best counters to Ancient Gears and Cyber Angels. As of this recording, it is the weekend before the Galactic Origin box comes out, and Machine Angel Ritual is set to be hit to 1 on the upcoming November 6th ban list. With that out of the way, let's begin. Cyber Angel is undoubtedly the top tier deck of the format, and on my climb to King of Games, honing my skills for the KC Cup, it has been very painful. This for a few different reasons. Number 1, the deck can recur resources very easily. Number 2, Machine Angel Ritual prevents destruction of its monsters. And 3, Dakini herself can be very beefy and has non-targeting removal. So to counter number 1, the deck has 3 searchers on normal summons, which being Sonic Bird, Senju, Cyber Petite Angel, Ben 10 searches when tributed, Dotted searches when ritual summoned. Dakini also grabs a card from the grave during their end phase, so it's got plenty of resources. So, what can us rogue players do to counter this? Let's use their searching to our advantage. Shared Ride is a quick play spell card out of Generation Next that has this effect. After this card resolves, each time your opponent adds a card from their deck to graveyard to their hand this turn with a card effect, except by drawing them, you immediately draw 1 card for each card effect, and you can only activate 1 Shared Ride per turn. This card combined with hand traps like Sphere Karibo can turn their OTK Angels into a +3 for you. It can give you the advantage you need to facilitate combos that ordinarily you don't have enough consistency to pull off against Cyber Angels. It can draw your defensive cards to survive another turn, or draw you an Econ so that next turn you can tribute take and go for game. The real downside here is that the card is really good just against Cyber Angels, and it doesn't activate when your opponent. You don't get to draw a card when your opponent draws cards like from Cards of the Redstone or Shard of Greed, and most likely would be a dead card against most other matchups. Either way, I recommend if you're climbing the ladder and you're being matched up consistently against Cyber Angel players, I'd try playing 2 to 3 copies in your deck. Alright, the second point. Machine Angel Ritual is going to be hit to 1 on the November 6th ban list, but it doesn't change the fact that it'll still be a staple in the deck, and because of the deck's incredible searching, you have to play around 1 copy of it. Now there's plenty of counters that are already well known, like Econ take their Dakini to send to the graveyard with their Dakini's effect, but there's still more than one way to skin a cat, so what other options are there? Obviously, Horus stops all ritual spells before they have a chance to summon Dakini, but when it comes to non-destruction removal options in the game, it's very limited. DD Warrior banishes after damage calculation, so it is an option, but unless if you've set this card and they didn't activate Dakini's effect fearing an Econ, you're going to take a lot of damage from that, and if you get the DD Warrior afterwards, suiciding into Dakini is going to be a death sentence. So this leads me to Geminis. More specifically, Heavy Knight of the Flame from Dawn of Destiny. So outside of its usual Gemini effect is that at the start of the damage step, if this card attacked a special summon monster, banish that monster. So with the recent support Geminis have gotten, they have a decent shot at being meta. You've got Supervise to give Gemini monsters their effects immediately. You got Revival and Birthright and Soul Resurrection. Searchers with Featherizer and Carbon Crab. There's more support for Geminis too, but what holds them back is that they're inherently slow because of Gemini monsters. And aside from having the perfect hand, what can help them get the cards they need? Oh wait, number 3, Dakini herself. What can you play to counter Dakini? Everyone already knows about Econ, so I'm not going over that. But if you don't have an Econ, you still need monsters to summon, and maybe, when Dakini's effect activates, send that monster to the graveyard, and you still need to have a monster so you can at least defend yourself a little bit. I recommend Pretend the Dark Cloud to stall out against Cyber Angels. Dakini's effect will send Pedon to the graveyard, and you'll summon another one from the deck. There's also Chaos Hunter, a new card trader card. When your opponent special summons a monster, except during the damage step, you can discard 1 card, special summon this card from your hand, and your opponent cannot banish cards. You can summon this to prevent Dakini from using her effect to send your boss monster to the grave. Or use it because it has a big body and with a mirror wall behind it. Dakini, even powered up with Adadin's effect, will not be able to take down Chaos Hunter, and Chaos Hunter's effect prevents the banishing of Machine Angel Ritual in the graveyard, preventing the Dakini being saved from destruction. outside of Dakini's effect, there's also the issue that Dakini will be powered up by a dot into 3700 attack. This is devastating, and many Cyber Angel players will play around Wall of Disruption, making sure that Dakini is the only monster on their side of the field. So I recommend Mirror Wall, because it's often better than Wall of Disruption in the Cyber Angel matchup. And if you don't have Mirror Wall, or you're scrub like me who's only gone through Neo Impact 1.5 times and you only got one Mirror Wall, and then you picked up like 2 copies of Wall of Disruption because it's cheap and you thought it was gonna be great, and it still is great. But with Cyber Angels and freaking Machine Ancient Gears messing up your plays, you got another option. Odeon has the drop reward reverse trap. Until the end phase, all effects that add or subtract attack or defense are reversed. And multiplications and divisions don't have anything, so you're not going to be able to do some crazy plays with Metamorph. Not Metamorph, Massive Morph. So this puts their Dakini at 1700 attack if you activate Reverse Trap, and they have it powered up with a Dodden's effect. And 1700 attack Dakini ain't gonna do jack. So you got that potential right there. If you're gonna go with that option, it's potentially really strong. It'll affect decks that use Beatdown like Red Eyes or Notaria, which you might see. And even Ancient Gears, it could do some pretty devastating damage, because they like to play the Ancient Gear Castle, boost their guys to 300, and they have a issue getting over attacks that are higher than them anyways. So there's no doubt more ways to counter Cyber Angels. This is my personal, what I use, but it's generally kind of hard. Cyber Angels is a really hard matchup as it is right now, and there's other ways to remove them, like for instance using Disappear on their Adodin in the graveyard, and so they can't recur that resource. But I mean, at that point they already have Dakini, and Disappear's not gonna help you out too much there. Or like a DD Survivor in a different dimension gate banishes their Dakini, but next turn they're just gonna summon them out again, you know. So, if you got an idea of how to take down Cyber Angels, put that down in the comments below. Ancient Gears. I don't know if they're sticking the meta personally. They're a great deck, and they can mess up control decks pretty hard. But I don't know if they're going to be as popular when the Crowler event ends and players move on to what's new. Because I feel like a lot of the people that are playing Ancient Gears is because they're new. It's like when Ojamas came out. People play them. But I mean, they're not as popular anymore. There's a lot of decks like that. It's not bad or anything. It just is what it is. So, to counter Ancient Gears, you got obvious anti-machine counters like Acid Raid and System Down. But the monsters I find aren't the big issue, because aside from Ancient Gear Golem with a 3000 attack, 3000 defense, a lot of their monsters don't have too threatening attack. It's really when they're paired up with their back row, when they play the Wall of Disruption and Econs and all this crap, that it really messes you up. So I got a great tech card. You've never heard this before. I'm gonna guarantee you that. This tech card that's gonna wreck Ancient Gears, Control, Amazoness Burn, Mill, sometimes Red Eyes. And it's a normal trap. Straight Flush. Right out of Valkyria's Rage. Straight Flush has the effect to destroy your entire opponent's spell and trap cards. Their entire back row is destroyed if they have it filled up with cards. Since we're in a very back row heavy meta right now, back row heavy format, with people playing the 3 Econs, they're playing Mirror Wall, they're playing Wall of Disruption, Straight Flush is a lot more activatable than you might think. And this card counters Ancient Gears really hard because their skill, Middle Age Mech, starts them with an Ancient Gear Castle. So all you're waiting at that point is just for another 2 Speller Traps to be set, or one to be set and the other one to be played, because all they need to do is have it filled up at any point, and then you can activate it. It doesn't negate their spell that they play. If they play a spell face up like an econ or something, and then you activate straight flush because their back row is now full, it doesn't negate that, but it still destroys their other two spells and traps, and it's a valuable tactic right now. Against control decks, you might have to play a little weird to use the card, but it was still, if you resolve it, you're gonna win that game more than likely. So for instance, if your opponent sets two back row and sets a monster and passes, and they're playing something like Dual Standby, Teo, right? You're gonna think like, okay, that's a mill deck. I'm gonna not summon and try to attack their monster because I know that they're gonna play Faint Plan or they're gonna play Econ or some other crap, right? What you're gonna do is you need to set a card and pass because set your straight flush, set a monster and pass because they're not going aggressive on you. They'll draw another back row or something. Set their set their cards, right? And they'll have like Windstorm and Econ, Massive Morph maybe, right? Wall of Disruption. They'll have all this set and they'll be like, ooh, I got an impenetrable wall. Just come and try to take me down. I'ma get you, right? And that's when they set their card and it goes to their end phase. You activate it. You activate the straight flush. They never see it coming. You go on the offensive, and now they've got like he just took down their three back row, and they don't got anything that can get them enough resources again. So this card's obvious weakness is that you're not going to be able to resolve more than one of these. The thing is that you're going to need to run 3 copies of this if you're going to actually play it, because you need to be able to see it in the matchups that you want to use it against. I highly recommend running the card to counter Ancient Gears. But, only use the card if you know that there's a lot of control in Ancient Gears in the ladder at that time. It doesn't do anything against the Cyber Angel matchups, so there's your word of warning. And then another card that I specifically use for the Ancient Gear mirror match, because I really like playing Ancient Gears, is Sorceress Spell Wall. All monsters you control gain 300 attack during your turn only, and all monsters you control gain 300 defense during your opponent's turn only. This card is really good actually in the Ancient Gear matchup because when you have Ancient Gear Castle and your opponent has Ancient Gear Castle, it boosts all the Ancient Gears on the field. Your opponent and you both have the same exact attack, and a lot of times you're just stalling, waiting for whoever attacks first, so you can play your Econ, or you can play your rare metal morph. So you're just waiting for all this crap. So that way you can actually safely go in. You're waiting for an Ancient Gear Golem. You're waiting for all this junk. With this card, it only boosts your monsters. So that way you can attack with something. Like, you can attack when you have the same monsters as them. Like an Ancient Gear Beast. And then if you attack into their Ancient Gear Beast, yours has 300 more attack. They switch it with an Econ, it goes to defense mode their turn. They have a 2300 Ancient Gear Beast, but now you have a 2300 Ancient Gear Beast and 2300 defense. Still run your rare metal morphs in the deck. It's really good, but I mean, it's a really good tech card against the Ancient Gear Mirror. I run 2 of it in the deck. You can run just 1 maybe. There's all my current tech cards I use to counter Cyber Angel and Ancient Gear. I hope I highlighted some cards that you might not have heard or have forgotten about, and if you like this video, hit subscribe. I'll post more content, and I have a video series idea called Set Survival where I'll go over older boxes from Duel Links and pick out which cards are still good today. Stay tuned for that and more. Thanks for watching. Bye.